Right, let's get into this video. First of all, I didn't want my first Star Wars video to be on something bad about the series, because Star Wars, in my heart, is one of my favourite universes there is. I love Star Wars, and I want more from it. So I don't mind when new ideas come out, like High Republic, and it tries to do something new with Star Wars. That's fine. But don't mess up core canon, and don't try and act like you're a cool show and deliver shit writing like this show. Now, like I said, I didn't want to go in too negative about it, because I watched Acolyte, I was like, I'll give High Republic a go. Because I've listened to a few of the audiobooks, and I really enjoyed some of the High Republic stories. And I thought, maybe they could do something good with their first series on it. Instead, they really just didn't. It starts off okay. The first 2 episodes are like basic, decent TV, you know. You're watching them, it's delivering stuff, there's some cool choreography here and there. The story's pretty medium, you know. The whole twin dynamic I really didn't like, but we'll go into that a bit more. I mean, they're not even twins technically, they're the same person. For fuck's sake. But yes, right. First 2 episodes, pretty tame. Nothing so. Episode 3, absolutely terrible. I can't believe how bad this episode is. You know what's the most annoying thing about this series? It's the only thing I can remember as the really negative points. I can't remember anything good except from episode, I think it was 5. 5 was the good episode. It's like it wasn't even part of the show at this point. But episode 3 was awful. Flashback scenes. Why were the Jedi so bad? It's meant to paint the Jedi in a bad light. You know, stealing children and crap. Everyone knows, who loves Star Wars, that Jedi aren't morally good. They're just meant to be the knights, sort of like policemen in the galaxy that do good things to help the public. But politically going, if you have one massive constant, they can't always be good. And that's what the show was meant to do, I suppose. But they failed in every regard. Wow. Yes, pretty much. So episode 3, that's when the kids go. You find out, the twins, how Mai survived and why Osha got taken. Osha wanted to be a Jedi, but then her sister tried to kill her for some reason. It didn't really make much sense. They're both 8 years old at this point, probably. Yeah, it was just so weird. And the whole chanting in English, the power of 1, the power of 2, the power of 3, or whatever, the power of many, crap. Any weird mystic dark arts in any sort of show would be done in a secret language, right? Why in this show they thought English would be good? Especially for Sith dark stuff. Even though Sith are like an ancient race, I swear. I think that's even might be canon. I don't know if that was just legend stuff, but anyways, I'm getting off topic. Episode 4, really forgettable. They're chasing through the forest. Ends right as it's meant to get good, you know. Using some of that really annoying creature, I can't remember his name. Bunch of Jedi trying to find Mai. She finds the guy, tries to switch sides, realizes he's dead. I can't remember the Wookiee Jedi's name. He was so forgettable. A lot of characters were forgettable in the show. I mean, a lot of them didn't survive, which honestly I respect. But yeah, Wookiee Jedi dead, and then ends on the thing where the big bad turns up. Now, Quamir, I really did like as a character. Even when he's in his parts where you don't realise he's the bad guy, his actor really performs well. And I would say a lot of the actors do quite well. I just find the writing of the show is really bad. I didn't like the main girl. I just didn't like her. She just couldn't perform on either side. I couldn't get with Mai. She just didn't really sit with her. She can't play the bad person, which is funny because this whole series is meant to concentrate more on the dark side. And then Osha, she was a little bit better, but then when Osha goes to the dark side, then she's having the same problems. Doesn't have that range. And plus having a twin, which is the same person, it just makes some scenes really forgettable and just annoying to see. Yeah, it just doesn't work. Well, it didn't work with her. Personally, they should just hire twins or something. Actual twins, especially if you're going to base the whole show and the whole twin dynamic being the same person. Right, that was one of the first main flaws, the whole created from the Force. This is the first part that we're hearing from the Jedi, is that something can be made from the Force, like kids. I can't remember what they called it in the show. It sounded like virgins. Virgins? Something like that. I was like, what the hell are they on about? Acting like we're meant to know what they're talking about. And obviously the whole dynamic between the kids, the Osha and Mai, is they're meant to be created like Anakin was. And I had a feeling this whole series is meant to set up why Anakin exists in the first place. How he came to be as a character, where the Sith got these ideas, and how Palpatine ends up. I don't know if it's Palpatine or if it's Darth Plagueis who creates Anakin in the first place. I know one of them does, and that's how his mother, has a Force baby, just like the Virgin Mary. Right, back on track. Yeah, first bit, I didn't like that. The whole mystery behind how Anakin was created, and then trying to explain it through this, was bold for them to try, but at least know your material, because a lot of the stuff they do in the show, they just act like they know they know Star Wars when they don't. This is a very hardcore fan base, and if you really try to step your feet in anywhere in it and you get it wrong, you're going to be called out. And that's why the sequels did so poorly. Obviously, Force Awakens wasn't that bad. It was okay start, but it was very much harking on the fact it's Star Wars again. And then obviously when Disney effed up the other two films really badly for every audience possible, it just left a really awful stain in Star Wars. And in fact, Dave Filoni and some amazing talent in Disney at the moment create some amazing shows, especially the animation shows. I mean, Bad Batch was fantastic, and that came out this year and finished this year. Well, season 3 came out this year and finished this year, and that was absolutely amazing. I'm tempted to do videos on them because how fantastic. Like, Clone Wars single-handedly saved Star Wars for me back when I was a kid, because I loved the movies and stuff, but then there was a whole spot where nothing was really coming out, and the Clone Wars was like, oh my god, new episode. I even watched illegally episodes on YouTube and then ended up getting a load of Blu-rays when I was a bit older. But I loved Clone Wars. Well, obviously Rebels started off a bit kiddie, but got really good. You're gonna have a great show. Mandalorian season 1 and 2. 3 was a bit iffy, but again, still solid shows. And 3, I don't think it was their fault. It was the whole thing about Pedro Pascal not wanting to wear the helmet, and obviously had a lot of issues in filming. Book of Boba Fett was didn't know how to do a crime lord, a very slow-paced show, and it turns out to be Mando season 2.5. Not bad shows. Andor, amazing, probably like one of the standout things, and I hope they do more of, just like this show. Obviously, we're getting season 2 of Andor, and I hope they do more stuff with it, because I love Rogue One. It's actually one of my favourite Star Wars movies. Obviously starts off slow, but I love the movie in general. I always enjoy rewatching it. Surprisingly, it came out with Disney. I don't know, crazy, right? Especially in the bad era. But yes, back to Acolyte. I really don't want to talk about the show. I don't know if you can tell by the whole tangent I'm going about, talking about how Star Wars is in a good place, and we still got comfortable, and then this has come out. Now, I don't know if this was before Dave Filoni got his new position in the whole works, and they just had it and they had to finish it to pump it out. But personally, I think it's terrible. There some good things in the show, I will not deny that, and I wish they did better, but everything was just lackluster and poor. Except from some acting, obviously. But yeah, actors can only do so much with the material they are given. Now, episode 5, I believe, because 4 ends on the cliffhanger, is the bit where Khmer basically kills everyone and takes Osha in the end. Well, he thinks, I don't know if he knows it's Osha. Yeah, they switch at the end and he goes for Osha. Fantastic. Killing off main characters really hasn't been done in Star Wars in a long time. Obviously, Han Solo getting stabbed, or Darth Vader dying right at the end, but you don't really have main characters die. So it was really cool to see a lot of the Jedi get killed, George get his neck broken, and I can't remember her name, X-23's character, getting stabbed multiple times. Really cool. And showing the dark side. Obviously, Osha turning to the dark side I thought was going to be a really cool point, and especially when she puts on the helmet at the end of the episode 6, I believe. I was like, okay, maybe this is like her slowly turning to the dark side, or May's just trying to get out, and then she's gonna kill May and stuff at the end. No, that doesn't happen. Episode 7 was again terrible. It was literally episode 3 just defending the Jedi. Basically, the only bad thing the Jedi did was accidentally kill a woman who was using the dark side. Now, I swear the whole point of the Jedi is to stop the Dark Force users and not protect a witch's coven. I know they're not going to outright murder people, but they can still govern it and probably arrest them, right? That's what I thought they were doing, their moral stance. Not just be like, oh, we're not going to interfere. And then obviously one of them goes rogue and they end up accidentally blowing up a whole witch's coven and killing them. They didn't bother to go in and try and save them, they just left them all to die after stabbing their leader. And using, the whole witch's coven using the Force to manipulate Jedi was cool, but it doesn't take that many to overcome a mind, surely. And then them to all pass out or die just because they got pushed out of it was a bit weird. Surely they would still be okay and conscious. Anyway, weird episode. Cool to see the Wookiee fight though, and fuck him up. Makes sense why he went secluded, but then we don't see him fight at all after that point, and he gets killed. Episode 8. Now this somehow gets worse. Right, I was expecting a bad end for not many answers. I was not expecting them to add more questions. Stop giving us more. This is now also the first time in actual TV or movies we've seen a crystal be bleeded, and they did it wrong. When you bleed a crystal or when you cleanse a crystal, you have to be holding the crystal. You cannot do it through a lightsaber. They only did it to sort of demonstrate her realizing that she's gone evil. Because when the whole dynamic of trying to kill a Jedi without a weapon is meant to take their weapon, and then when you kill them without it, you've earned their weapon, and then you bleed the crystal. Therefore, you now have your new lightsaber, which is now red. That is how the Sith killed them without the weapon. In this show, they made it really weird, so I didn't get why she had to kill it. I thought it was some weird dark side cult rather than the actual Sith, because you see Darth Plagueis lurking the clave. I think it's Darth Plagueis, because it better be, otherwise who the fuck else is it? It's meant to be the rule of 2, yet Osha's now being trained, so that's 3 of them, so that's already breaking the rule. If I was Darth Plagueis and I saw my apprentice training someone else, I would kill them both. That's just what the Sith would do, is like, oh, I'll get a new apprentice. I know the Master's... the apprentice is meant to kill the master afterwards, that's always what happens with the Sith, and then they get a new apprentice. It's the cycle, so they can keep evolving. But to do it so obviously in front of them was so weird. Like, I know, obviously, Palpatine sort of breaks that, but that's because he rules the galaxy at that point. He can have these Sith assassins that he calls Inquisitors and stuff, because he rules the galaxy. He doesn't have any opposition because he rules the galaxy. So it makes sense why he breaks the rule of 2 at the end. And obviously, he has Darth Vader, who's his main apprentice. He's not going to train these Inquisitors up to be their level. They're just there to kill the remnants of the Jedi and break them. Probably once they'd done that, they would have been killed. But anyway, back on to more stuff they've hooked up. The weird senator basically talking about how the Jedi will get corrupted in the future, he knows it's going to happen.
You don't like me. You think my campaign for an external review of the Jedi is a personal vendetta?
If you want my honest opinion, yes.
Good. Here's mine. I think the Jedi are a massive system of unchecked power, posing as a religion. A delusional cult that claims to control the uncontrollable. Not
Watching Star Wars for the first time, seeing them get corrupted, and then trying to preach about it like Captain Hindsight. It's like talking in hindsight when it hasn't happened yet. How did it... Right. Compose myself again. This show is say you have something you're really good at, and this person has had one day on the job and is telling you how to do your job. This is what this feels like. It's just they think, oh, I know all this bits about Star Wars, I'm going to add it here and make the writing really shit, and it's just not laying, and it just doesn't understand it. It's like the whole the shields in The Last Jedi. That's not how shields work. If you watched any goddamn Star Wars show or read a book, that is not how shields work. Yet he thought that they were you can keep them up constantly, but you can go behind them and shoot the ship that way, and it was so weird. It's you could generally understand that director did not understand Star Wars. Whereas in this show, they get some ideas, and they've obviously done some research, but they haven't done enough. Where it's oh yes, bleeding the crystal is a thing, it's cool that it was done, but it just looked terrible, and it wasn't earned. She randomly kills Sol because she found out he killed her mother, and Mai still burnt down the place, but she gets to survive because sisters forever, even though they never liked each other at all. They've always disagreed, yet right at the end she believes her over Sol, who clearly loved her for some reason. Very we'll probably bleep that out. Very not safe for worky, Why would you love a kid you've never met? It sounds freaking weird. Yeah, as you can see, I really struggled with this show. Well, like I said, episode 5 gave me hope that it was going to go full on we've killed the stuff, sort of red herring is starts off very mediocre, kill off all the crap Jedi, and then nail it with it's a dark side show. But God forbid why. Right, let's get on to the main point. What sucks most about this is I don't want it to be connected to the Skywalker saga. The whole point of the High Republic is for Disney to do their own thing when the Jedi's are the strongest. But this is trying to connect itself to the Skywalker saga again. Stop touching it. Just leave it. Mando's doing its own thing in its own future. Obviously, there's little bits in the background trying to explain the sequels because they effed that up as well. But now they're in it from both fronts. It's why is the High Republic trying to tap into the Skywalker saga when you have so many good stories? So many good stories of the High Republic. I've read your books. Well, even a few of them, and I've really enjoyed them. I didn't enjoy some of them, but you can't get a perfect score over a thing. You've got comics and stuff. Just pick some of the stories from that people liked, and then bring to live action, and if people like that, then you can explore more. You have not earned yourself to do the first Dark Side story and fuck it up. God, they fucked it up. You could have done a Darth Vader show. It's shown him earning his first lightsaber, killing the Jedi Master with his bare hands and bleeding the crystal. That would have been cooler, but no. No, you did this with stupid fucking twins who can't play a dark character. Yeah, this show broke me. I don't know if you can tell. I love Star Wars. But this was not Star Wars. This was just fan. I've seen fan films. Like, if you want to watch a really good fan film, watch the Darth Maul. If you're a Star Wars fan, you've probably already watched it. I don't know, watch the Lego Force Awakens. Bet you don't know that exists. Fantastic. Got better choreography in that. Fight scenes in that. Fuck Christ. This show sucked ass. And they try to set it up like we want a season 2. Fuck you. Honestly. Fuck you. Star Wars, I love it. At least we're getting new games soon. And it's not, it's not force-based. We're playing a smuggler. That's going to be fun. Though it is a Ubisoft game, so I'm not getting my hopes up too much. But it'll be fun to play a smuggler and a Jedi for a bit. Just give us anything. Give us anything good quality. Sorry. Star Wars is such a broad medium. You could do so much of it. And that's what Andor understood and delivered. We got heists and shit, prison breakouts. Oh, it was fantastic. The actors were beautiful in it. And then we get Acolyte. What the fuck was that? Even the animation that people say the kid fight is so much more gritty and so much more. The character work is amazing. Like, even a few episodes you get to understand the character. Obviously, there's some exceptions because you're not going to nail everything. And obviously, but like I said, I think one of the most tight-knit families and the best groups I've ever seen is from Rebels. And Rebels, I wouldn't even say is the best animated show, but I love that group dynamic that they had. And spoilers here. No, actually, no, I won't spoil it. Just watch Rebels. Honestly, it starts off a bit kiddie, but it gets so good. Especially after watching Clone Wars, they bring those characters back. And even when they do bits where you haven't seen it before in Star Wars, they give good explanations. It just makes sense. Whereas this didn't make sense, and it was trying to earn its place, and it didn't earn it. Set up slowly, not this rushed piece of shit. Add more episodes, fill it out more, learn them to could you imagine if we had a few more episodes with those characters, and then we watched them get killed off, and then saw Osha training to then kill her sister at the end? It's have a switch, or have it be it's not a twin dynamic. She just doesn't remember wanting to join the Jedi, and the Jedi mind tricked her, sort of secret Russian agent style, and then she starts to remember, and then she goes back to the dark side because that was her true nature. Anything would have been better than this show. It had too much in it. It didn't explain any of it, and it didn't justify what it needed, and it took away things that could have been delivered better. Bleeding the Crystal, I think it should be in the Darth Vader show. He's the quintessential dark side character that everybody loves. Have him be the one to be in the first, visual dynamic where he's bleeding the crystal. Because we've all seen the comic. Well, I doubt it, actually. The comics are fantastic for Darth Vader, and it shows him killing a Jedi Master completely. He's not beating the Jedi Master, but then he realizes, this town's full of people. So he starts murdering all the people, so the Jedi has to try and save these people, and that's when he kills the Jedi Master. And then also probably kills the village after that. Because that's the dark side. If you want to do a dark side story, go all the way. Most of your fans, obviously you're going to have some kid fans, but then you have shows for that. Then they grow up and there's some more shows I can watch. That's the great thing about Star Wars. You don't have to cater to every audience. Your audience is so broad that you can cater to everyone in different shows, and when they grow up or get older, or if they're younger, they can cater to that. You make a kid's show in the High Republic, I'm probably never going to watch it, but as a kid I wouldn't mind watching it. Again, it's such a broad medium, you don't have to cater to everyone in the big stuff like TV shows. You wouldn't watch the Game of Thrones shows if it was catered to kids, would you? Because it would take away half the stuff from it. We can't show any sex, murder or anything in this now. And all the people were good. Give us grey stories. Give us darker stories. Give us where the hero's an antagonist. I don't know if most people watch this, is Attack on Titan has an antagonist for the main story. He starts off as you think, you're backing this guy, and then he turns into the bad guy doing the evil stuff. But he justifies it in his own mind, and you can see why he's justifying it. That's a great grey story. This was awful. This Acolyte show was bad, and I recommend just don't watch it. It's not worth your time. There's plenty of good High Republic books. I would happily recommend a few. I might leave some in the description. Just watch that medium if you want to watch High Republic. This was not worth it. This was by far not worth it. I don't know how long. 22 minutes of this rant. It was probably cut it down, but good God. Yeah, Acolyte pissed me off.